Hello. I'd like now to introduce how to read and write datasets in R using Rstudio. So to begin with, let's import a dataset. In Rstudio it's particularly easy because we can go to our environment window and import a dataset either as a text file, which is a .text, or even a comma delimited file, or we can even read the URL from the web and download that way. So to begin with, I'm going to read a file from my text, and it's a file that's been created by my collaborator Chris Hassel, who works on freshwater invertebrates in ponds. So I'm going to open this data, and the first thing you'll see is that with importing data you get a quick view of what the data might look like and the way it will be interpreted into a data frame. All looks good, so I'm going to press the import. Then you'll see on the left hand side in the script editor we have a very nice view of what that data actually looks like in terms of the way it has been read in. Now these data show the plant species diversity and invertebrate species diversity, largely insects, in each of 59 separate ponds in the United Kingdom. We have their latitude and longitude. We also have the altitude and the pond width and so on, and a variety of other variables associated with the ponds. Now, let's begin by analysing these data a little bit more closely. I'm going to let insects be the particular column for invertebrate species diversity in that Hassel data. And likewise, I'm going to set plants as the plant species diversity in each of those ponds from that Hassel data set. Now, I might want to begin to explore the relationship, for example, between insect species diversity and plant species diversity. And one way to do that is to simply plot a graph of the insect species versus plant species, and this is the relationship that we get here. In a later individual lesson we will see how to test whether there's a genuine relationship in this case between plant species diversity and invertebrate species diversity. But for now we'll simply visualize the data. We might have other questions too, and to plot graphs for other applications we might want to load a library which is particularly good at drawing up graphics, and one library is Lattice. I've already installed Lattice on this Rstudio version, which you do only once, but each time you have a working session you need to remind Rstudio that you will be using the routines within your particular packages that you've loaded, and we say this using library. So the Lattice package has some nice histogram techniques. This is what we're drawing here for simply the distribution of invertebrate species diversity over all of those 59 ponds that we looked at there. Some of them are really very common, but most of them have a diversity of between about 10 and 30 species per pond. Now, we might be interested in creating a dataset comprised solely of the invertebrate and plant species diversity. So in a way we want to create a new data frame. So this is how we might do it. We say diversity data is cbind the insect data and the plant data. Then we would like to write it to a file that we can access later. Well, in this particular instance what we would do is simply call the entire dataset to diversity data, and we can also give the name for the file that we're writing, and I'm going to call it diversity.txt. Now, if I don't specify the address, then it will be given in the default directory that I'm working from. However, I can also specify the address by giving, for example, the area on the C or J directory, and download it that way onto my computer. So let's have a look just to check whether it's been imported here from the text file. Here's the diversity because it's all part of my project, and I'm opening it up here. We can see our import, and there is the individual data set that we have extracted from our larger data table. Thank you for listening to this RLabs tutorial video. If you found this useful, you might be interested in our free online Moodle course, or check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel.